I just went to USA Today, the top 20 schools in America, and went down the list, and it shows the ones that was familiar to me. My dad was like, my dad wanted me to be a doctor, and so I threw him Johns Hopkins at Vanderbilt, you know, just to make him happy. Like, remember, for every school you put on that list, that means an extra essay you have to write, and that's a lot of essays.
It's also an extra $60.
So. Oh yeah, an extra money too. Like, oh, like, make sure, yeah, it's extra money.
The Ivy Leagues are like $90, and like it just depends. But it's
so, yeah, you can like spend up $1,000 on like applications alone. You might not even get in. So it's like there's like, you know, the lottery thing. So I just went down the list, and if you really like you have no idea what you want to do in life, I was narrowed it down to, I think, Duke, Johns Hopkins, and U Chicago, and we visited Duke only, by the way. So by the very end, I was like, okay, so like we compared and contrasted the 3 schools, and we like fought about it for the longest time. Like we fought every single day about what I wanted to do. In the end, like I really want to go to Chicago because the atmosphere is absolutely perfect for me. And then, but like Duke is like, you know, a better school for med, and like, you know, Johns Hopkins is a better school for med. And so my dad was like, don't you want to go to med school? And so by the end he gave in. He was like, okay, do whatever you want. Like if you don't make money in 4 years time, don't come crying back to me. and so yeah, I hate that. Yeah, so but it's just like, it's a gamble. So like I want to go to Chicago because that's where I think is like the programs are best for me. Well, I think the atmosphere is absolutely perfect for me. And so it depends on what your child wants to do, by the way. And so like, yeah, like listen to their opinions and make sure they don't want to go to med school, because I didn't.
Jennifer and I, because she's working in my office, so we had actually every Sunday a few minutes. So I get to hear some of her insights. It just absolutely enlightened me, because as a parent, we sometimes have a way of assuming what's the best for our kids. I know I do that all the time. And Jennifer, one thing I stood out to me is she's fought very hard to what she believes is the best for her. She, like a Duke and then Johns Hopkins, all those top schools, she got accepted. And you know, now there's a view of what she wants to do and what parents think was the best for her. And she stood out and be able to convince her parents, be able to demonstrate, to take the ownership and the responsibility of her decision. Is something we as a parents need to think about, how to plant that seed in their very young age. You know, sometimes we're afraid they make mistakes. You know, we don't want them to trip over. We want to protect them, make decisions for them. At a certain age, you've got to let them drive. Just let them sit behind the steering wheel. Let them try. Even if they made a mistake, that's okay. It's a lot better when they make the mistake, you know, when they were 25, 30, 50, you know. So that's, as a parent, I learned this through my kid, Kevin's college applications, and I kind of feel like we as a parent, if I had the opportunity to do with the second one, which is my second one in the classroom, I probably would let him drive a lot sooner. Not physical car, but in terms of making the decisions. Yeah. Dominic, you want to have anything to add to her?
I mean, I think most people covered it. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I think even when you apply to, I mean, I guess they sort of covered like what schools you want to apply to in terms of location, what you want to do, what you think is a good fit for you. But I think what narrows it down the most is what schools you get accepted to.
Exactly.
So, I mean, in the end, you know, you don't really have to choose between 10 schools unless, you know, you're one of the rare people that can get accepted into 10 schools. Most people get accepted to, you know, 2 to 3, you know, maybe 4. But I think from there, once you get accepted into schools, it's really important not to think about, I guess, like ranking, but more, you know, what's a good fit for you. It's important to go to the school, visit, you know, decide what programs really fit you, and I mean.
Oh, and financial aid.
Yeah.
By the way, money is really important too.
Yeah.
Yeah. What school gives you the most money is also the school you should consider pretty high up there. So.
That's very true. But I always know it's a mutual relationship. It's not one-way street. The school got to like your kids and want them as bad as your kids want to go to that school. And I always find that the school knows that it's really not just you know, the SAT, your activities. It's not just like those things you can touch and you can measure. It's a lot of a design and the school sees an essay, I'm going to ask him the next question. The essay, all the students, they have to do absolutely fabulous job to finish the essay, because think about admission officers, they are reading through thousands of papers in a very short amount of window, from probably early admissions starting probably August, the senior year, maybe even some of the late junior year, and all the way until April. I think April 1st is every school have to make the decision. They have to mail out the rejected letters or admission letters, whatever. So they have a very small window, probably a handful of staff reading through thousands of those applications from all over the place. How your essay stood out? If it doesn't stood out, that essay, then the chance that the school would mail the letter to you, acceptance letter, is very slim. Because you just mail, it's just covered in the pile of the papers. It doesn't reflect you as an individual school think that this person is what we need for the school. So the essay part is, I want to, I don't know, the parents here want to hear how they prepare the essay, when they start preparing. Either wait for the junior year, or the senior year, when the paper come along, or they start them much earlier, and how to build the qualifications so they can put on the essay. Any?
I think it's important for the essay to stand out, I suppose, but that shouldn't what you focus on. I think a lot of admissions officers talk about how they receive really, great essays on just very plain topics. Talk about a club that they've been in, or an accomplishment, or a leadership position, whereas they might get, really unique essay topics, but then the essays aren't very good. I think what's really important is that the essay reflects something about you that an admissions officer cannot see in the application, and that it, it complements your application. It's not just this out there essay that the admissions officers remember, but they don't necessarily see you as like a really good applicant for that school. As for me, in terms of writing the essay, like sitting down and typing the essay, it only took me, a few days, then I edited and revised. What I did spend a lot of time doing was brainstorming topics. I would suggest starting to brainstorm topics, the summer before senior year. I don't think you should start any sooner than that, because a lot of times you'll write about experiences that you haven't had until, maybe junior year or even beginning of senior year. If you try to start thinking of essay topics, freshman year, you haven't experienced any of high school, you can't write about anything. And just write about something that, is important to you, or reflects who you are, or just, the essay topics are very open-ended, so,
I chose to do there was on the Common App, there's a list of essay topics you can write about, and there's very bottom is choose your own essay topic. I did that one. The littlest things, the things that you might not think are important can make the best essays. I remember when I started maybe my essay 10 times, and I erased every single draft because it was pretty hard writing it down. And I remember writing about how I grew to love books, and how these colleges, you should, the one thing you should ask yourself is, what do colleges expect to see from this essay? Why do colleges want me? Why should they want me based on this essay? Colleges want passionate people who are concerned about learning, people who really love knowledge, and people who they think are going to succeed in life. And so I read about how my passion for books can lead to a passion for greater advancement in knowledge at UChicago or at this college. Yeah, don't mention the college in your Common App essay, by the way. That's not really appropriate. And so just write about things that you yourself are really interested in. Don't try to fake your way through an essay. It won't work. Essays are not meant to be faked. You have to write from what you experienced in your own life. Write what you know, basically. Even if you think it's really stupid or really silly, if you write it really sincerely, colleges will see that sincerity, and they will like you for that. Because they don't want cynical people. They want people who are really just enthusiastic about life, enthusiastic about the things they're interested in general. So yeah, do that.
Just going along. I'm probably not as good at this because it's so far back, but yeah, honestly, I think the essays just like in addition to like all that other stuff. Like don't mention like, you know, the clubs you're in or like your grades, because they have that stuff already. Like they want something else, you know, they want like another dimension of your personality. They want, I mean, it's good to, I have a friend who works at the admissions office at Carnegie Mellon, and she reads, you know, she reads all the essays you write, and it's really like a group of like 30 people that go through like thousands of essays. So if you want to write something like, it's difficult to explain, but you should do your research on the school, like, and if it's Common App, don't mention the school, but if it's like some other separate application, do your research, see if you can tie, you know, some of like their mottos or whatever into your essay. They really like that, and colleges like really like it when you take something ordinary, like a hobby or something, and it, like turn it into something extraordinary, like an experience or like how it can help you in the future. You know, those are the kind of essays that, you know, they're looking for. You know, they don't want like a list of your accomplishments or anything. They want something about yourself. You know, like a hobby, like if you like to collect stamps, or if you really like to swim, or if you like to do anything. You know, talk about that. I feel like it's.
I think they covered it pretty well.
On a side note,
Yeah.
don't let people over-edit your essay because your voice really needs to shine through an essay.
Okay, you're gonna have to revise your essay a lot of times though. Like I went through like 6 drafts in my Common App essay. Like make sure like different types of people read it. Like I had my friends at school read it, and I had like college friends read it, and I had like somebody else, I don't know, my mom found somebody who read it too. And so like it's just good to have different perspectives on the same topic, and you're gonna have to revise it a lot of times because like you might think it's perfect, but it can always be better. So yeah, and it really sucks when you write so many essays in a short period of time. So make sure you write your essays in advance of that January 1st, you know, deadline. Because I remember like all of us, like, you know, midnight, like, you know, overnight working 2 weeks before the deadline. Like all of us were online, you know, every single day, 16 hours, just like sweatshopping through essays. And it really does suck being able to do that.
Oh, I did think of something. Grammar and punctuation, spelling, very, very important. If like people, like the admissions office, they read it and like you can't spell something correctly, they'll be like, we don't want this person at our school. Like, that's like something that's like very, very basic that some people overlook, but grammar, spelling, punctuation, that kind of stuff, very, very important.
That's very, very true. And also added to that is, I know at least many students are dealing with multiple essay application because you want to apply for the schools which you like. You may not just like one school, you like several schools. Make sure you leverage in the essay, but to the degree don't cupcakes to the school, like don't double check the school.
That's just school name.
Right,
Yeah.
if you send it to Carnegie but with a UJ in the essay, don't do that. It's a pretty bad, right? So okay. So it's very important. And another question I have for the panelists here is, do you ask your parents to read your essay for you?
No.
So don't be offended if your kids don't ask you. It's like it's one of those things that's like, I'm starting this new phase of my life and I want to be independent, and this is like one of the first things that's like, yeah, this is my own and this is my thing. So don't be offended, but like, I'm sure all your kids will get other people to revise it, so don't be like,
I let my mother see my essay after I sent it in. That counts.
no, I don't think I even did that.
My parents had no idea what I wrote about. Yeah, I don't think they had an idea.
Yeah.
You just saw like a bunch of Word documents constantly open, like they had no idea what I was writing.
Yeah.
It's okay.
So parents, so this is truly goes through. If your kid doesn't invite you to review the essay, it's okay. It's very normal. So don't feel offended. Don't feel hurt. Accept that and respect for that. Yeah. Okay. And now I'd like to. We have another 30 minutes, and I'd like to open to the room. And any questions? There's no question. It's a simple question. Any question you have in your mind for parents, for students.